What's your goal with basketball?
Honestly, I don't really know. NCAA for sure, and maybe NBA.
At what age did you first dunk a ball?
12 years old.
12. How tall were you then?
6'11".
The NBA's tallest stars today, Victor Wembanyama and Zach Edey, stand at around 7'4", true modern-day giants. But then there's Olivier Rioux, a 19-year-old who makes even them look small at a jaw-dropping 7'9". He's 5 inches taller than anyone currently in the league, taller than every active NBA player, and taller than almost every player in basketball history. He can dunk without even jumping, and when he runs layup lines, it looks like a grown man hooping with kids. Even Shaquille O'Neal, who stands 7'1", looks shocked standing next to him. And here's the wild part. Rioux is still growing. He's already the tallest player in college basketball history, but this story isn't just about measurements or viral clips.
People reaction when I say I'm playing basketball, it's kind of normal.
When you think about being 7'6", do you think of it as a blessing or a curse or both?
Blessing.
Basketball has shown us one harsh truth. Being tall doesn't guarantee greatness in today's fast-paced NBA. That kind of size can be a blessing or a serious curse. So the real question isn't just how tall Olivier Rioux is. It's whether someone this massive can actually survive and thrive in today's game.
The tallest teen in the world is in Niagara this week playing basketball against some of the best young players in the country.
I met Olivier when he was 11 years old. He was 6'10". The first thing that he asked me when he came in the gym is, "Coach, can I grab a basketball?" I was like, hey, for sure.
Is he a once-in-a-generation phenomenon or proof that the NBA has moved past giants like him? Olivier Rioux didn't just appear out of nowhere as a basketball sensation. His story started the moment he was born. By 5 years old, he was already taller than his kindergarten teacher. By 8, he hit 6 feet. By 12, he passed 7 feet. And at just 15, he shattered records as the world's tallest teenager at 7'5", earning a Guinness World Record. Now at 19, he stands at an unbelievable 7'9". And the craziest part, he might still be growing.
Olivier.
It's
7'6". 7'6".
It's kind of funny. They think that you don't see them, but you do.
How long has it been since you could walk into a store with your mom and dad and buy buy clothes off the rack?
To be honest,
Never?
almost never.
Born in Canada in February 2006, Rioux came from athletic roots. His father stood 6'8". His mother played competitive volleyball, and his brother also reached 6'8" playing basketball. But Olivier was different. The genes didn't just bless him, they went into overdrive. His youth highlights went viral for a reason. He blocked everything, dunked over players twice his age, and made the game look flat out unfair. Even NBA stars were commenting on his clips saying things like, "How is this even real?" What makes Rioux stand out isn't just his height, it's how he uses it. He didn't coast on genetics, he worked his way through Canada's youth national teams, and chased real competition overseas, joining Real Madrid's elite youth program, one of the toughest basketball systems in the world. That move said everything. He wanted respect, not just attention. He wasn't trying to be known as the tallest. He wanted to belong. Sure, being 7'9" sounds like a dream, and Rioux has said he's grateful for what makes him different. His size opens doors and gives him advantages few players in history have ever had, but it also comes with a heavy price. Living that tall means constant physical strain. From simple movement to high-level play, that kind of size raises more questions than cheers.
You can use it for almost everything. You can use it for being famous, you can use it for basketball, you can use it for highest shelf in the kitchen or whatever.
So when Ollie came into the weight room first, and I first shook his hand and met him, I thought to myself, man, I hope this guy comes here for the full-time year.
It's one thing to dominate kids your age, but can you keep up when everyone is stronger, faster, and built to test every weakness you have? As Olivier Rioux keeps climbing the basketball ladder, the challenge only gets heavier. Every new level demands quicker feet, stronger conditioning, sharper instincts, and a smarter overall game. Each step forward forces him to prove again and again that he's more than just tall, that he's a real player who can survive the grind of modern basketball. basketball. The international stage is where Olivier Rioux finally met reality. Competing against the best young talent in the world stripped away the safety net his height once gave him. His first major test came in 2021 at the FIBA Under-16 Americas Championship, and he was just 15 years old. Despite being one of the youngest players in the tournament, Rioux started every game and showed he could hang with elite competition. Across 6 games, he averaged 8.3 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks. Those numbers weren't eye-popping, but they were real proof that he could actually play basketball, not just stand tall. His true breakout moment came in the semifinals against Team USA, loaded with future NBA talent. Rioux went straight at them, dropping 12 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks in only 25 minutes while shooting efficiently. Canada didn't pull off the upset, but they secured a bronze medal, and Rioux walked away with serious respect.
Fortunate to coach a few 7-foot-tall players in college. Nobody over 7 foot. He is the biggest player I've had the opportunity to work with.
Olivier Rioux has just taken the shirt off, and he's getting set to not only enter this game, but break the record officially for tallest basketball player. A first career point for college basketball's tallest.
At just 15, he wasn't a sideshow. He was producing against the best in the world. Fast forward 2 years to the 2023 FIBA Under-19 World Cup, and the competition jumped to another level. France came in stacked with future NBA draft picks, and Team USA looked dominant once again. Rioux's minutes dropped, and his averages, 3.2 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1 block per game, didn't jump off the stat sheet at first glance. But when he actually got real minutes, he made them count. Against Japan, Rioux played just over 10 minutes and still put up 10 points on near-perfect shooting, plus 5 rebounds. It was a small sample, but it showed something important. With rhythm and touches, his size and soft touch could still shine. By 2024, expectations exploded. The FIBA Under-18 Americas Championship was supposed to be his big coming-out moment. Instead, things didn't go exactly as planned. Rioux started most games, but averaged only 9 minutes a night, posting 4.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. Solid numbers, but not dominant. That's when the questions started flying. Was it conditioning, coaching decisions, or was it just hard to fit someone his size into today's lightning-fast style of play? With limited minutes, nobody could say for sure, but one thing was clear. The world was watching closely. The verdict started to form around Olivier Rioux. He could compete with top talent, but he wasn't unstoppable. His efficiency looked strong when he got touches, yet sustaining that impact over long stretches remained a big question mark. By the end of high school, scouts viewed him as a fascinating long-term project. Massive upside, but inconsistent. That uncertainty made his next move absolutely critical. Those international battles revealed one truth loud and clear. Rioux didn't just need more games, he needed real development. That's why he headed to IMG Academy, one of the toughest and most respected basketball programs in the United States. IMG isn't about hype or easy wins. It's where raw talent gets sharpened into pro-level skill. When Rioux arrived, IMG had already seen this story before. Years earlier, another tall Canadian showed up unranked, awkward, and barely noticed. With time, structure, and serious work, IMG helped mold him into a college star, and eventually a top 10 NBA draft pick. The blueprint had worked before, and the staff believed Olivier Rioux could be the next real success story on the court. His size was impossible to ignore. At 7'9", Rioux was a walking mismatch from the moment he stepped on the floor. He planted himself deep in the paint, scored without even leaving the ground, and forced double teams instantly. Defensively, every touch near the rim turned into a problem for the other team. His presence alone changed the flow of games. Guards hesitated on drives, shooters altered angles mid-air, and entire offenses had to be redesigned just because he was standing there. But IMG didn't just showcase Rioux's upside, it exposed the limits of being that tall. Once players reach a certain height, quickness drops fast, and Rioux wasn't immune to physics. He moved smoother than most people expected, but his first step was slow. His lateral movement was stiff, and rebounds outside his immediate reach often went to quicker players. It wasn't about effort or desire, it was reality. That's when IMG shifted the mission. This was no longer about highlights or viral clips. It became about survival. Every day turned into a grind. Strength training, conditioning, conditioning, endurance, and skill work became non-negotiable. Nutrition and recovery weren't optional. They were part of the job. The real challenge wasn't dunking or blocking shots. It was keeping his body strong, his energy steady, and his game sharp against faster, tougher competition. By the time Rioux finished high school, scouting reports all sounded the same: talented but raw. He landed as a 3-star recruit, sitting just outside the national spotlight. The notes followed a familiar pattern: massive presence, solid defender, but still developing coordination, conditioning, and overall feel for the game. On paper, it looked ordinary, but history whispered something different. There was another tall Canadian once labeled awkward, unpolished, and full of upside. That player turned into a 2-time National Player of the Year and a top 10 NBA draft pick, Zach Edey. Now here's the twist: Olivier Rioux stands 5 inches taller. When college offers started coming in, people knew there was a real chance for something special. Players over 7'6" have made serious noise at the college level before, and there was no reason Rioux couldn't do the same. Schools across the country wanted him, but his decision wasn't about hype or instant minutes. He stayed in Florida, committing to the Florida Gators, a program known for discipline, development, and winning the right way. But here's what most people missed: Rioux didn't arrive on a full scholarship. He came in as a preferred walk-on, meaning nothing was guaranteed. No starting spot, no special treatment. Everything had to be earned. The roster was already loaded with experienced players, and the plan was clear from day one: take it slow, protect his body, build for the long haul instead of chasing quick moments. That patience got tested fast. Game after game, fans chanted his name, begging to see the tallest player in college basketball history hit the floor. But the coaching staff didn't budge. Burning a full year of eligibility for a few seconds of action wasn't worth it. So they made a bold call: redshirt season. No games, no stats, just development behind the scenes. And don't get it twisted, Rioux wasn't sitting around watching. He was grinding every single day, practicing against high-level talent, learning the system, and adjusting to the speed, strength, and physicality of college basketball. And even though his name wasn't lighting up the box scores, the impact was very real. Florida went on a historic 36-4 run, winning their conference and capturing a national championship. Olivier Rioux lived that journey up close. He soaked in the mindset, pace, habits, and discipline of a title-winning squad while the Florida Gators prepared to defend their crown. Then Rioux's moment finally arrived. With national attention growing and NIL interest following him everywhere, the spotlight wasn't going anywhere. On November 7th, history was officially made. Olivier Rioux stepped onto the court against North Florida, becoming the tallest player ever to appear in college basketball. Just 2 weeks later, against Merrimack, he knocked down his first free throw and grabbed his first rebound. That moment etched his name permanently into the record books as the tallest player ever to score in NCAA history. So now the question isn't whether Olivier Rioux belongs in college basketball. He's already answered that. The real question is how far he can actually go from here. Rioux is still a raw prospect with clear areas to clean up. His footwork needs polish. His finishing can be inconsistent. He'll hit a tough hook shot one possession, then rim out a simple layup the next. That's part of the growing process, but there's a lot to like. Defenders can't guard him cleanly, so they foul him constantly. His free throw stroke is smooth, his shooting form is controlled, and he stays disciplined. He rarely forces bad shots outside his comfort zone. On defense, his presence is impossible to ignore. Teams literally design entire plays around avoiding him. It often takes 2 or 3 bodies just to box him out. That attention alone bends the floor and opens things up for his teammates. That's what makes Rioux a quiet difference maker. Even when he's not scoring, he's influencing every possession, and unlike many ultra-tall prospects, Rioux doesn't look fragile. His frame is sturdy, giving him a strong base for long-term development. At just 19 years old, Olivier Rioux still has time on his side. By the time he's NBA eligible around 23 or 24, he'll have years to improve his conditioning, mobility, and overall feel for the game. A full 4-year college run might be exactly what he needs to turn rare potential into something real. This is where things get uncomfortable, because the NBA has seen players like Rioux before, and history hasn't always been kind to giants. Extreme height has always been a double-edged sword, and in today's fast, spacing-heavy league, that gamble is even riskier. Take Yorga Murason, for example, a 7'7" giant who actually reached a legitimate peak in the NBA. During the 1995-96 season, he averaged 14.5 points and 9.6 rebounds, dominating the paint like a true old-school big man. But
Strickland wants it on the block. Finds Murason for the lead. Howard. PJ denies the baseline. Strickland. Big George all alone underneath.
Oh, that's a great pass. Great recognition.
Strickland trying to get the lane. Deep Murasov. Georgie unstoppable. The 11 first quarter points for him.
That era was different. The game was slower, spacing was tighter, post-ups ruled, defensive schemes protected massive bodies instead of dragging them into space. Murasan thrived because the league allowed it. Still, his body broke down early. Chronic back and hip injuries ended his career before he turned 30. In today's NBA, he'd be hunted in pick and rolls until his size advantage disappeared completely. Then there was Manute Bol, another 7'7" giant, a defensive freak with historic shot-blocking instincts. But even he struggled to stay on the floor consistently as the game evolved.
They're going to post up. Bol got him from behind. The Warriors 8 of 9. Bailey can't finish on Manute Bol. 13 rebounds. Look at Bol with a big move, and he put it in.
Wilkins blocked by Manute, number 12. Good inside position, and Manute blocks it anyway. And gets it again! Manute Bol with 15 block shots tonight, a new club record.
He's a legend in Indiana. There's another legend right there.
Taco Fall.
That's the challenge staring Olivier Rioux in the face. His height is unmatched, his upside is real, but turning that size into long-term dominance in the modern game is the hardest part of the journey. He averaged 3.3 blocks per game across 10 NBA seasons, relying on timing and instincts instead of raw strength. But even Manute Bol couldn't escape the limits of his body type. He was a defensive specialist with almost no offensive game, and in today's NBA, even that level of defense might not be enough to keep someone on the floor. His son, Bol, entered the league with more skill, shooting range, and ball handling ability. Yet even with that added versatility, he still struggled to lock down a consistent role. The message was clear. The league didn't wait for giants to catch up, it simply moved on. Then came Taco Fall, the modern warning sign. Standing 7'6" and built like a wall, he checked every box you'd want in a traditional giant. Size, strength, effort, professionalism, but none of it was enough. Once teams exposed him in pick and rolls and forced him to defend in space, his size flipped from blessing to burden. His feet couldn't keep up and opponents attacked that weakness over and over. Fans loved him, but coaches couldn't build real systems around him. In today's NBA, popularity doesn't equal minutes. Now enter Victor Wembanyama, the true exception. At 7'4", he's not dominating because he's tall. He's dominating because he moves like a guard trapped in a giant's body. Wembanyama switches on defense, recovers in pick and rolls, handles the ball like a point forward, hits pull-up jumpers, and still blocks shots at a ridiculous level. His height enhances his skill. It doesn't define it. He's set a new standard. If extreme height is going to work in the modern NBA, it has to come with elite movement, coordination, and versatility. And this is where things get tough for Olivier Rioux. His path runs in the opposite direction of Victor Wembanyama's. Wembanyama's skill created his value, and his height just made it more dangerous. Rioux' value starts with his size. Now his skill and mobility have to race to catch up. That doesn't make his dream impossible, but it makes the margin razor thin. He doesn't need to become Wembanyama, but he does need to reach the bare minimum of modern athletic functionality at that level. The modern NBA doesn't punish tall players, it punishes slow ones. Pick and rolls come non-stop, spacing leaves no hiding spots. Even elite rim protectors get dragged into uncomfortable situations. Look at Rudy Gobert and Jarrett Allen, both elite defenders, yet constantly tested on the perimeter. Even slower bigs like Nikola Jokic and Alperen Sengun have learned to defend higher on screens just to stay involved in plays. If Olivier Rioux ever reaches that level, he'll instantly be the slowest player on the court. And that's the brutal truth. That reality shapes everything about his development. For Rioux to have a real shot, his defense must be built on positioning, timing, and reading the game before it happens. He has to move smarter, not faster. His conditioning has to be elite just to stay playable for extended stretches. His margin for error is tiny. Every missed layup or fumbled touch cancels out the advantage of his size. But if he locks in the basics, reliable finishing, steady free throws, and maybe even a short jump, defenses can't ignore him anymore. That's where size finally turns back into power. This is the tightrope Olivier Rioux is walking. On one side, basketball history is filled with giants who got left behind. On the other, Victor Wembanyama is rewriting the rules in real time. Rioux stands right in the middle, forcing the league to face a question it usually avoids. Can someone this tall truly belong in today's game? Because in the modern NBA, height alone doesn't save you anymore. The pace is faster, the floor is wider, and the game exposes every weakness instantly. History hasn't been kind to players built like Rioux. Wembanyama doesn't change that. He proves how insanely high the bar now sits. He isn't the blueprint, he's the miracle. For Olivier Rioux, the road ahead is razor thin and straight uphill. His margin for error is almost zero. His body has to stay strong. His stamina has to reach elite levels. His defense has to survive in open space. And his offense has to squeeze every ounce of value out of that 7'9" frame. There's no room for waste, no place to hide. Still, basketball has always been obsessed with the impossible. Every once in a while, the game pauses and asks one risky question. What if? What if the tallest player in college basketball history finds just enough mobility to hang with the pace? What if time, patience, and the right guidance turn his size into something truly dangerous? The odds might not favor him, but the stories that define the sport never come from playing it safe. Olivier Rioux now stands at the edge of what basketball believes is possible, and whether or not he ever steps onto an NBA floor, his journey already forces the game to look up and wonder. So what do you think? Could Olivier Rioux actually rewrite what it means to be a giant in modern basketball? Or is the game simply too fast for players built like him? I really want to hear your take. Drop a comment below and let's talk hoops. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps. Share this video with a friend who lives for basketball debates. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the legends, the underdogs, and the wild what-ifs that shape the game. Check out another video on the channel and keep the conversation going.